episode 6 of the Good Friends podcast. Today is Wednesday, November 26th, 2014. I'm sitting here with my good friend, Rod Bassenmer.
Hi!
What's up, man?
What is up? It's Thanksgiving! Ooh, 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 ooh. My favorite holiday.
Is it really your favorite holiday?
Yeah, it is my favorite holiday, actually. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
I like it more than Christmas, and I always have.
Yes, I like Thanksgiving because you don't get dirty looks for being a gluttonous slob.
Right.
It's kind of just what you're supposed to be.
Right, and it becomes a cycle because that is the thing I'm most thankful for. It's just a day where I can be shoving my face with mashed potatoes and doing my thing. It's really nice. I love it. And I just love the food itself. Like, they're some of my favorite, like, comfort foods. Like, I love mashed potatoes. I love, like, biscuits or whatever. Turkey. Gravy. Cranberry.
So you don't have any, like, because your family obviously is, like, first generation, like, immigrants to this country. You don't have any, like, Iranian spice to Thanksgiving, or is it pretty much just the...
Oh my god, my parents hopped on the holiday train with vigor. Like, literally, you would think that they're full throttle, like, Anglo-Saxon, like, waspy Americans. Like, they fuck with the Christmas tree. They're, like, about it. They love Thanksgiving because they love turkey. Like, they just love that stuff. But my mom does do, like, an Iranian stuffing. Like, the stuffing is always very, like, Iranian spice, like, jasmine rice and, like...
It's just goat cheese.
Yeah, it's just, like, it's a big block of feta inside of a watermelon, and we just shove it in our turkey, and we're like, yeah! Yeah, that's the only thing where my mom goes crazy, but it's bomb. Her stuffing is, like, insane.
Cool. Respect to stuffing.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, so I just love Thanksgiving. It's so fun. Yet it's the one I'm never home for, like, ever.
I know. That sucks. I haven't been home for Thanksgiving in a while either.
I know. I don't know why. I guess because, like, I gotta be home for Christmas, but, like, staying through Christmas is too long. I don't know.
It's a tough time to navigate.
It is. It's really hard. It's hard to
negotiate.
negotiate.
What are you going to be doing for Thanksgiving this year? You're going to be alone?
Yeah, I'm just going to be cooking a microwavable dinner. I'm going to turn all my lights off, and I'm going to eat it in the bathtub with a knife to my throat. And I'm going to say, I'm so thankful, right when I slit. No, I'm going to be having dinner at my wonderful friend Pega's house. She's, like, hosting a whole thing. And she's vegetarian, so the fact that she's hosting a meat-based meal is pretty dope. So props to her.
Props to her. Good for her.
I think she's doing, like, a tofurkey and, like, for herself, and then a turkey for everyone else.
Yes,
so, like,
we have a family friend who is also, like, vegan, but she's hosted Thanksgiving or Christmas before, and she's just had to suck it up.
Really? I'm so impressed.
It's good job. Yeah, good job. That's impressive.
It's really impressive because it feels like if there's any day where your vegetarianism really is like, let me pump the brakes real quick, it would have to be Thanksgiving, but that's so hard. Like, for some people, the smell of turkey is, like, really gnarly. Like, I wouldn't blame them for not wanting to be in a room where it's, like, basting at 500 degrees or whatever.
Yeah, right. Just meat juice in the air.
Yeah, so you're, like, spritzed in the air, like, just hear that meat juice dingling. So gross.
So, good job Thanksgiving.
Good job Thanksgiving. And I'm so glad that there's no brutal history attached to it, and that it's just really a day about eating, and just historically has always been super chill. Like, I love that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's just not a complicated day at all. Like, it's just so fun.
Right. It's the one day a year where white people didn't try to fuck everyone else over.
Right, yeah, it's
We
great.
waited. See, this is what we did. We got you full and sleepy, and then waited until Black Friday.
Oh my god.
Why do you think it's called that?
Wait, is Black Friday referred to the day they gave them smallpox?
No. I think it's a reference to the day businesses, quote-unquote, go in the black, meaning that's, like, the day they start to turn a profit.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah,
Hi,
so.
that's really fun. Also, this is a total side note. Did you know that the term cracker, oh my god, sorry, but, like, the term cracker doesn't refer to, like, a white person's skin tone being similar to that of a cracker, but it refers to, like, the sound a whip made?
Yes, I was aware of that.
I wasn't. I literally was, like, thinking it was always had to do with the fact that white people look like saltines. I literally didn't know. I'm mortified.
I am crispy and covered in salt, so...
You actually are. Considering how many times I've licked you while you were asleep, I can vouch for that. You heard me.
Alright.
You heard me. I licked ya. Oh my god. So gross. But also, like, quick side note, a listener named Maddie wanted us to quickly discuss the fact that now, I guess, Black Friday sales start at, like, 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day?
It's definitely like an event. It's an event to kind of have Thanksgiving, and then like after you're done with your family time, go wait in line all night for Black Friday.
Wow, so great. 2 things I love. Spending a lot of intimate time with my family and then standing in lines.
And then immediately going and buying into consumer culture and not waiting to buy all the latest stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like grandma is like, I'm thankful for my hair, because without, and everyone's like, shut up, and like going
Grandma's
quickly
like
for
thankful for the last 2 weeks she has on this earth, and meanwhile I'm in line for Xbox One.
She's thankful for the fact that her last living family member invited her to Thanksgiving, but nobody hears because they're already revving up the minivan. Like, shut up, Nancy, let's go! Like, oh, God.
Yeah.
So brutal. I can't believe it. I've never done Black Friday, and I never will. And with the advent of online shopping, I don't know why anyone does.
It's true. I mean, I don't think either of us can speak to this because I haven't done Black Friday
Ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
What I used to do was when I was a little kid. I remember one time, Marshalls was giving away a Joe Montana like foam football, and I went with my dad at like 6 a.m. to get a free foam football. But we didn't buy anything; it was just for the free crap.
That is so cute. That is a great memory. Your dad woke up early just to get you this foam football.
And we got some foam footballs and probably played with them for the afternoon, and then probably lost them.
Oh, mamma mia. That is literally such a cute memory. You know that my weak spot is father-son stuff.
Yeah.
That is so sweet. I love your dad. If he's listening, I will never forget what he did for me.
Okay. But yes, no, it's kind of a funny thing now that it's almost feels like the Black Friday hype is going to take over.
It's too
eventually.
much. Yeah, I just feel like it's impeding on the day of to like a really gruesome degree.
And like you know what you're gonna see right on like the Saturday after Black Friday or a couple hours after Black Friday starts. Like there's gonna be news stories about people getting trampled to death.
Right.
There's gonna be crazy video of storming the gates of Walmart.
Right.
There's gonna be like moms fighting over Teletubby Beanie Babies.
It's true. It's honestly what it becomes a half marathon for obese people. Like it's pretty much like you get to see what large people in the like middle of the country will do, and it's apparently run once in their lives for stuff, for things. So it's really great to see large people tumbling into like a pit of like plastic bouncy balls as someone like hits them over the head with a flat screen. Like that turns me on. Like I'm into it.
Good.
I'm into those YouTube supercuts. Bring them on.
Me too. World Star Hip Hop.
World Star. Oh my god, I would kill for a World Star Hip Hop like click hole equivalent for Black Friday videos.
The Black Friday madness.
But yeah, we should definitely next week we should research it and discuss our favorite Black Friday brutal videos. Our favorite Black Friday snuff films.
I'll be doing that anyway, so I'd be happy to share with everybody that listens to the
Yeah, you
podcast.
might as well consolidate the 2 things you're doing next week, this and that.
Yeah.
And do them together.
All right. Well, so we're talking about things that we're thankful for, and one thing that I'm not thankful for.
Ooh. Go in.
Rod. It seems like since the last time we've had a podcast and put it up on the air, another little podcast has come and stolen all of our thunder.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't an alarm. That was me agreeing.
The producers of This American Life have come out with the very, very popular, in fact, it's the most downloaded podcast in the world right now.
Yeah! Bumping ours to a sweet second.
Yeah. Serial.
Ugh.
So, we know, you and I both know who we can blame for this.
Yeah, do we even need to say her name? Yeah, I think we do. Janet.
Thanks, Janet.
Thanks, Janet.
Thanks.
You really just fucked us again. Do me a quick favor, Jarnu. Buy me dinner next time you're gonna fuck me like this. Okay?
Just the production quality on Serial
Is
Janet,
incredible.
It's just better.
It's better. And how many times did I ask you to stage a murder so we'd have something to talk about? And guess what Serial's about? A murder. Livid.
No.
Livid.
Once again, Janet finds her position on the brink of
Annihilation.
on the brink of annihilation.
Next year's Serial is going to be about the producer of a podcast who was murdered and the 2 suspects who got away clean.
Yeah. So
Cross promotion. Yeah,
Wait.
Serial is literally so popular. So popular, and probably going to be spoofed on Portlandia by this time next year. Like, oh my god, people are obsessed. And you caught up this week at my insistence.
I did catch up.
So what did you we haven't even talked about it. What do you think? What do you think? And what did you heard about it before? Had you heard about it at all?
No, I had heard a little bit about it, but I wasn't aware of what the point of the podcast was, or what the content was.
Right.
And I was kind of expecting it to be. I didn't realize it was going to be a story, like for the whole series or whatever. I thought it would be kind of just episodes about different serial killers or something. And I figured, serial killers. That's creepy.
Oh, good call.
But then, yeah, you start listening, and then you realize it's this one story, kind of told week by week.
Right.
And I think it's definitely gripping. It's definitely, I feel like probably now the Sarah Koenig, the lead, I don't know what you would call her,
like the host and like the investigator, like the journalist, like she's everything.
She is everything. And it kind of, now that they're going into their 10th episode that's supposed to come out a week from today, and it kind of feels like the podcast had shifted from where it started to where it is now. You know?
Yeah, in what way?
Because at the beginning it kind of felt like, oh, this is an investigative show meant to kind of fully reveal the truth behind this like murder that happened 15 years ago, and she's going to be like kind of detailing stories and leads and informants and stuff like that week by week. But it kind of feels like she did that within the first 3 episodes, and then like the middle 3 has like a whole different feel, and then these last 3 also have a different feel than the first and the second 3.
Interesting. Like it's in 3. It's almost in like 3 arcs now.
Yeah, it's like kind of investigating what happened, right?
Right.
Talking about what the prosecution did, what the defense did, the stories from the classmates of the day where this girl goes missing, and then it goes into kind of like, oh, what can we do about this person? If, she has that episode where it's, I think episode 7 is just exclusively with the person who is in charge of
the teacher, like the teacher of those students, right? Who like takes on the case, kind of.
No, the episode 7 entitled "The Opposite of Prosecution," where she sits down with that woman who's in charge of kind of helping wrongly prosecuted prisoners. Right.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Where she doesn't she like put like 2 of her like kids on it, or like 2 of her like students on the case who like check to see whether the case is as like foolproof as it seemed, and they're all like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
like we don't know how he was.
She brings on the head of the organization, and the lady kind of is shocked that they like even had a trial or whatever.
Right.
And she also goes to like a former Washington D.C. homicide police and does the same thing, and he says the same stuff. But yeah, it just kind of feels like we're not going to. It's one of these things where people are going to want like an answer. Yes, he did it. No, he didn't do it.
Right.
But I don't think we're going to get that. I think it's either going to end ambiguously, or it's just going to end like Adnan's just stuck in jail.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I think that's the most interesting thing. I think, should we give like a quick like 2-sentence synopsis of like what this story is, or should we assume everybody is listening because it's addictive?
Let's give a little synopsis.
Okay, so Serial is obviously a single investigative radio piece told over the course of many weeks. We do not know how many weeks it will be, and the story is about a murder that took place in 1999. And about, a girl who was killed in Baltimore, and her ex-boyfriend, and, like, relatively good friend even after the breakup, was convicted of the murder. There's a friend that the two have in common. His name is Jay, who is, like, a major linchpin in the prosecution's case against the kid, who is on the show often. Like, he pretty much checks in with Sarah... Koenig, like, every week, through, like, the telephone at the jail, which gives it, like, a very, like, unsettling feeling when they, like, include the bit about, like, the jail connecting the phone call. Like, you're always reminded of the fact that he's in jail. And every week sort of develops a story, and you're totally right. Like, it does feel like it's in 3 arcs. It feels like the first 3 episodes are about, like, setting up all the facts, and, like, she'll refer back to those facts often because she, like, as everyone has like said on the internet, like creates a pretty intimate relationship with the listener by talking to you very directly and being like, this is the part that doesn't make sense to me, or like, okay,
right.
I'm gonna back up really quick, like very intimate in that way. And in the middle is like when we start getting into like the theories, and she kind of starts like, more cliffhangery endings about like things she discovered. But now these 3 episodes seems like she's sort of like investigating her own biases at this point in the case, which is like, I think really interesting. Like it's, when I read investigative long form pieces, which I love to read, I love murder, there's always this like the undeniable bias that like a reporter has when they're like investigating something, like you develop a connection to like 1 or 2 of your sources, unless you can really maintain journalistic objectivity, which is like just really hard when it's like kids in jail whose like lives have been ruined, like you're gonna feel something. And I like that she's totally investigating that. Like, that is equal part of the investigation. Mm-hmm. And that's because the case is, like, for all intents and purposes, closed.
Pretty much. It is closed. I mean, it's a closed case. The kid's doing life in
He's doing life in prison. Yeah, and that's, like, sort of the most interesting thing about Serial, I think. It's, like, this isn't a think piece about a murder. Like, this isn't an opinion. It isn't a verdict. It's someone who's processing a really complicated story, like, week by week,
Yes.
And for Anand, who's, like, the guy in jail, the story's over, It's, like, it's done. And there's no hope that he's gonna get out unless there is suddenly. And I don't know, I think it's a really... Serial just operates on, like, so many interesting levels to me, like... It's just, like, it's so, I don't know, it's, the way it's, like, telling this story just feels, I think what reason people are responding to it so much is that, like, so much like, breaking news is dead, for all intents and purposes, like, that entire notion of, like, how news breaks has completely morphed and is, like, pretty awful now, in my opinion, like, like, all this stuff with, like, the Boston...
24-hour news cycles and kind of just, like, coming up with headlines.
Right, yeah, it's like clickbait and like, the 24-hour news cycle requires you to always have breaking news, and breaking news is a rare thing. Like, often news isn't breaking there isn't always news that needs to break, rather, The Boston bombing was like probably the best example of breaking news dying, where it was like, there's just nothing to report, but you have to keep reporting. So this story is great because it's like, I think people are really hungry for like, a slow burning story, and like, part of it is entertainment. Sarah the host doesn't owe anything to Anand, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't owe anything to anyone but the listener, because like at its core, Serial is just like, it's about entertainment. It's about us being entertained. Like, it has this like larger conversation it's having about this like potentially innocent guy, who I feel so bad for, like literally so bad. Like, I haven't even looked up pictures of what anyone looks like, any of the people that she's talking about looks like, because I don't even want to put a face on them. They like, that becomes like too intense. But I think people are really hungry for this sort of like, I don't know, like really well plotted story, and like to not be treated like they have to read a reaction to a reaction, or like an opinion on an opinion. It's like, it feels calm, and I don't know, I kind of love that.
I agree with you on that, and I think it helps that she's investigating a story that's already happened. It's like old news.
Totally.
But it's just kind of like maybe old news that a lot of people got wrong.
Right.
And because the whole crux of it is like, he got charged with this murder, but she had gotten letter after letter after letter from like friends and family being like, this was a case that the Baltimore County like prosecution fucked up.
Right.
Like, they got this so wrong. And it's something that, like you said, for all intents and purposes, Adnan is in prison for the rest of his life.
Right.
And he's going to stay there. And there's a really interesting interaction, actually. I don't know if you in episode 9, I don't think you
I have not heard last Thursday's.
Yes, so in episode 9, they're talking on the phone, Sarah and Adnan, and she kind of goes like, well, it's just hard because I just feel like you're a good guy. And
oh, I heard that. And he's like, you don't know me.
Yeah, right. He's like, you don't, like, I'm in prison.
Right.
Like, they don't put good people in prison.
Oh, that moment was, great call pointing that.
It's just kind of like, it's really humanizing when some piece of, like, this kind of journalism where it's not just a name and a face.
Yeah.
You're getting, like, this person's... You're getting, like, everything.
You're getting everything. Oh, my God, it's so real. That's so true. Yeah, that moment was, like, heartbreaking because it was, like, like... neither of them should believe the other. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, there's no reason for Anon to believe Sarah, because she's a writer, and a writer you have to like trust and not trust. Like Joan Didion has
plus,
like
it's her
has a
job
quote
to.
about that.
She doesn't. You know, it's like she's not an investigator. She's a member of the media who's in charge of coming up with like the best story possible.
Right, exactly. And the best story isn't necessarily always going to be in the best interest of the source, you know?
Right.
Yeah, like Joan Didion has this quote, like, writers are always selling someone out. And it's like, that is true. And at the same time, there's no reason that she should just believe him, right? And he says that, even though, like, I don't know, no matter what you take away from the case, if you think he's guilty or innocent, like, I personally am, like, just never following the story. Or in terms of, like, I don't really think he's guilty, mostly because, like, everything hinging on Jay as a witness just feels really shaky. Like, if your main witness, the main crux of the entire prosecution, is constantly changing his story and is that unreliable, like, you have lost the crux of your prosecution. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I love that moment because it's so real. He's like, there's no reason you should trust me. Like, we've never met. You've never seen my face. It's so sad, but it's so good. Like, I'm literally obsessed.
It's funny because this, like, listening to it, having like watched all of the seasons of The Wire, which you should be doing. It's funny because
One day.
In the show The Wire, it's like such an important and like groundbreaking thing to have an eyewitness testimony.
Right.
That I can see. It's kind of just funny. Like, you see the things that are brought up in The Wire come to life in this case.
Right. Because
like,
they both take place in Baltimore.
They both take place in Baltimore. I think this crime was investigated by Baltimore County Police, whereas The Wire is about Baltimore City Police.
Okay.
But it's just kind of like, they talk about how, Sarah Koenig talks about how it's such a big deal that they found an eyewitness to testify on the stand in front of a jury about having seen the body in the back of, you know, of Adnan's car. And the detectives and the state of Maryland kind of are able to turn a blind eye to all of his inconsistencies and his lies and all the stuff that doesn't look good for their case. They're able to just kind of ignore just
so because he talked. Because of the simple fact that he talked.
Just so they can say, this person killed Lee, like, he's in jail. He's in prison. We solved the murder.
Right. Totally. Yeah,
it's a very
definitely.
Interesting kind of, I don't know. Just,
yeah. No, that's a really important context. So you have, like, a city with, like, a historically high crime rate and probably, like, a series of unsolved murders, like, every single year, and then you have one person who's finally, like, willing to talk and rat out a friend, where, like, the culture of criminality is not like that.
Of course, we're gonna, like, ride this guy until we can.
Right, because it's in our best interest as the police.
Right.
No, it's totally true. Another interesting thing about Serial that I think some people maybe have problems with, I haven't really read any writings about Serial. I'm, like, very uninterested in, like,
I haven't
think
either.
pieces. Yeah, I'm just kind of, like, not interested in that. It feels very, like, I don't know. I just don't need people, like, projecting anything onto my opinion of it. I just want to, like, react to it. But Anon is, like, a Muslim, like, Pakistani kid in the middle of, like, I believe, and he's, like, a real relative minority in Baltimore. But Sarah has, like, not really, like, investigated that element. Like, the racial element of his conviction seems to, like, be sort of sideswiped, which I think is sort of interesting. I think, like, it's maybe problematic, and, like, that played a bigger role than it seems, but I feel like it's really interesting that, like, we're not getting theories until Sarah really personally reaches them, you know? Like, she's processing this live, and, like, we're hearing it live, and until she really feels like race is factored in, or until she's really even thought about it, like, she's not gonna bring it up. And I don't know, there's something really interesting. I feel like there's a real intimacy with her and with Anon, and, like, how she's feeling and thinking. Like, she's just such a big part of this, which is really interesting.
Yeah, would you say that the fact this happened, like, before 9/11 would play into that at all? Because this is obviously before, like...
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, like, Islamophobia was, like, not as bad.
Islamophobia started to kick in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, if Homie... I mean, like, he was guilty either way, but if this happened in, like, 2002, I feel like he would have been, like, I don't even know, like, executed. Like, I don't know. It was just, like, the tensions of that moment in time were just, like, so different. So it feels like maybe race didn't play a role, and it's like you can't do any sort of retroactive projecting of, like, you know, oh, they were probably thinking this. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's my whole thing with this case. I just don't know.
Well, who knows? That could be a very important part of the next episode.
Totally. Because if Sarah decides it's important, it's important.
It's cool. Yeah, and we're just kind of along for the ride, and I think it's just a fun, little surprise every Thursday.
Definitely, completely agree. Even though they are our competitors, we will acquiesce for a minute and say, well done.
But you've made the shit list.
Yeah, you're on our shit list and you're on our AOL list. You get devil tongued and you get good friended.
Okay.
There you go. So, what?
We gotta find better transitions. This is really hard.
We need you to do the serial like dong, ding, dong, ding, like serial music.
Yeah, I mean, if our music was better,
that was maybe too intense.
Easier.
Yeah, I agree. I will say, even though our transitions aren't great, your segues are often my favorite parts of the show. They're always very clean. You should know.
I try. I try sometimes, but this time I failed. So,
nice.
on to the next topic.
Hit it.
Rod.
Hit it.
I understand that you've seen the awe-inspiring Insta classic Interstellar.
Oh my god, the Christopher Nolan's Insta classic. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
I did see it. I saw it last week on IMAX. And I don't know how I feel about it. I liked it. I don't know. Yeah, I saw it. I saw it a lot. I'm a big. Well, first of all, are you a big Christopher Nolan fan? What are your thoughts on him?
I usually enjoy his films, at least during the first time seeing them.
Sure.
I will watch and usually enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I do too. I'm like a pretty big. He's like my favorite blockbuster filmmaker, probably. He's my favorite.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. He's one of the only guys who I get excited about when it's like a big time movie that they spend a lot of money on.
Word. Yeah, it's like probably how kids in the 80s or 90s felt about like Spielberg. Like, even though that was kind of us, I like never really cared about Spielberg, but like if I was in my 20s in the 80s or 90s, I feel about Christopher Nolan the way I feel about Spielberg, which is to say they're like really large movies. Like, they're just like really big, and like that's their best element and their worst element, and this movie is literally so big. Like, it is just so much. Like, so much is going on. It's really, really crazy. Seeing it in IMAX was really intense. And I don't know, you leave a Christopher Nolan movie having, like, often loved watching it, and then as time wears on, you're just like, I don't know, I have weird reactions. I don't find, okay, should I say what the plot is? Should I give, like, a short synopsis?
Yeah, go for it.
So Christopher Nolan's Interstellar is about, basically, in the future, it's like an unmarked, it's a pretty familiar looking future, like, the world's crops have pretty much, like, stopped growing, and there's been some sort of strange, like, Dust Bowl type situation where, like, the human race has run out of food, and because of that, like, funding has been cut from, like, the space race, and, like, technology has sort of gone down to its just, like, bare essentials, and the Earth is, like, essentially dying. Like, there's no sort of doomsdayness attached to, like, the first act of the film. Like, it's not, like, an apocalypse movie, but, like, we're nearing a breaking point in, like, human existence. Except for the fact that a wormhole has been found in space, which, like, essentially allows people to, like, cut through our solar system into a completely different one and, like, make intergalactic travel a possibility. So for no reason, Matthew McConaughey has chosen to go through this wormhole along with everyone's least favorite human, Anne Hathaway. Keep her in space, please. And they go off with, like, 2 other people, including this really dope robot named Tars. And they, like, shoot on through, and literally everything you've seen in, like, the trailers is exclusively, for the most part, like, the first 25 minutes of the movie. And, like, everything, like, all the stuff on Earth is, like, only there. And, of course, like, the big conflict of the movie is they're trying to find a habitable planet, right? And, like, they get sent through the wormhole, and there are 3 planets that, like, they've sent other people in throughout time. And, like, they have to check these 3 planets to see if there's any chance to, like, for it to be able to host life. But every, like, hour spent on these planets is, like, 7 years back on Earth. And so, like, like, talk about trouble. Like, that is the most stressful thing you can... Like, I get stressed when it's a Thursday, suddenly. And I feel like my week's over. Like, I don't know what I would do if I was like, oh, it's 7 years in the future, I've been on this planet for 45 minutes, how? And he just wants to get back to his daughter, even though bitch just left her. I was like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, Matthew. So he has to try to find a habitable planet and get back to Earth before his daughter, like, I don't know, like, has a baby without him, or is dead, or, like, gets married, or, like, graduates. I'm like, what? So that's, like, the basic plot of the movie. And as with every Christopher Nolan movie, that barely skims at the surface of anything, because it's literally so dense and also kind of stupid, but also, like, kind of great. I don't know. I loved watching it. I felt like I was literally on acid. It was, like, so crazy.
Yeah, one of the first things that I saw after the movie was released was you know how after Inception was released, there were all these like flowcharts coming out explaining the plot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I saw this flowchart for Interstellar, and there were like a million different colors and charts, and I kind of was like, I can't even begin with this.
I am frustrated
Is that how
by
it
that.
is?
No, I don't ever find Christopher Nolan movies to be as complicated as people make it out to be. Like, all he does is tell you things. Like, that's literally the entire movie. It's just him telling you things. And it's like, if you just sort of like pay attention, not to say I'm I'm a smart moviegoer, so like it's really easy for me. It's just like, it really isn't that complicated. Like, his movies his movies are so obsessed with their own mechanics and like the way that they function. Like, all he cares about is like how things work, you know?
Yeah.
And he tells you everything about how the movie works. And he also tells you like how to feel. Like, all his movies are just like sort of emotionally vapid to me. Like, they make you feel things, but that's because like he never lets up the score, and like it's always blasting in your literal face. I don't know. Yeah, I don't find Interstellar is really not nearly as complicated as people will make it out to seem, and it's not as complicated as Inception was. Like, I guess I can understand kind of maybe how people would find Inception confusing, because it just sort of like starts, like Inception starts in like the middle of action, right? Like in medias res. Like, it just sort of like starts. But Interstellar really takes its time. So like you're really getting a lot of exposition. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't. His movies are just so emotionally. They're so like, they're just such shells, emotional shells to me. And like when you're in it, like you're so in it. But then when you step out, you're like, okay, that felt like a math lesson. I don't know,
Like
but
a science documentary.
yeah, it felt literally like the world's most engrossing PowerPoint. Like, what?
Because it's funny, during the trailer, it kind of just feels like it's going to be a movie about a father and a daughter.
You know I cried 3 times because it is.
The trailer makes it seem so emotional.
It's so emotional. It's literally so emotional. But it's emotional because it tells you it's emotional. You know what I mean? Like, he is... It's totally... Okay, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like obvious trigger warning. Like, anything about fathers makes me want to throw myself out a window. Like, makes me want to cry. It just makes me think of The Little Princess every single time I see a movie about fathers. And yeah, as time is passing, like, no spoiler, because, like, I think pretty much everyone knows, but, like, time does pass, and, like, Oscar nominee Jessica Chastain, who, as always, looks 65, even though she's, like, in her early 30s, plays his daughter, like, all grown up, and, like, we see flashes, like, we see bits of, like, Earth life. So, like, time does pass, and, like, the way that tragedy, like, hits Matthew McConaughey's character is so real. Like, his performance is, like, beautiful.
You're all older now.
You're older now. All right. Tee hee hee. Like, okay. Like, why are you in space? I can't even do a Matthew McConaughey. I just sound like a hack. But yeah, no, it's totally emotional. It's really, really emotional. And it's good. Like, I really did love watching it. To me, Christopher Nolan is just like Michael Bay. Like, he's on the same level as Michael Bay, but his movies, I just think, are better. You know, like,
Right.
Michael Bay movies feel really tall. They feel, like, big and, like, tall, and I'm, like, cranking my neck to, like, take them in. And Christopher Nolan movies feel really, like, wide. They feel like they sprawl to the sides, and I'm, like, looking around a lot and, like, trying to digest everything that he's showing me. And, like, I prefer that because it requires me to be more active and when I'm watching Michael Bay movies, I'm more passive, and I can just sort of
Michael Bay.
He blows.
Plus his movies are just big commercials for GM.
Yeah, they literally are. I'm like, oh yeah, for GM and literally like Asian tourist industry. Like, why do I keep going to Bangkok in every single Michael Bay movie? Like, we were just in the American heartland. Why am I suddenly being dropped into a Bangkok skyscraper? Like, every chance he gets. Like,
so unnecessary.
It's so unnecessary. Like, I just don't. So I will always prefer a Nolan to a Bay, but they are in the same family no matter what people tell you. Like, they are the same type. They're interested in the same things. So
prepare for the blowback.
Bring it. I don't know. I feel like people are a little Christopher Nolan exhausted, but I think there will be blowback because Christopher Nolan people like jerk off on, and Michael Bay people want to kill. Like the public opinion is very different. But
it's true.
So maybe there will be blowback. But I'll stand by. I don't give a fuck.
Well, I gotta see it still, so I'm excited to see it.
See it on IMAX. Like, just do it. See it. It looks great when it's in IMAX, but then like a lot of scenes are filmed on regular camera, and it's very obvious when like it switches. But it's so worth it for the IMAX bit.
Okay.
Get into it.
All right. Well, I think it's time for the
fan questions. Fan questions.
We have fan questions.
Bang. I want to Interstellar and go back in time and fix what just happened real quick.
It's too late because if you do that, I'll be a 70-year-old man shitting my pants.
I come back like, Jack, don't worry. We totally edited the podcast. And you're like, I'm like, oh, really?
On my deathbed.
I'll be like, whew, I really took my time. Shouldn't have stopped for that meal.
I'd be on my deathbed and still mad about Serial.
Oh my god. They're still going. They're on episode 6003. And me just like, ooh, where was I?
Turns out Adnan was never at the park.
Your dying words. Yeah. As you pass. Adnan was innocent. Jack, what did you say? Jack! Anyway, okay, fan
email questions.
Fan questions. Ooh, ooh, fan questions. Ooh, ooh, it's time.
So thanks for doing these. We really appreciate all the questions we got. We got a lot, and we're gonna save them for later weeks.
You guys are the best. We're getting tons of them. It makes me want to go.
Makes me want to go that too. Do it, Rod. Do it. Yeah.
Fan questions.
So definitely keep them coming, and don't get discouraged if you don't hear your question answered this week. We'll probably come back to it.
Yeah, we will come back to it. We're creating like a log so that we always have some to answer. We're doing most relevant ones first.
Rod, if you will.
The first one.
Yes.
So our first question is from listener Seppo Mokwana, all the way from London town. And the question is, after her... This is directly from Seppo, and it involves everyone's favorite topic after Serial, Beyonce. The question is, after releasing her Look, I'm a Real Person music video for 7-Eleven, which is really real, how much do you think an entertainer of her stature deserves Time Person of the Year? Along with the likes of Malala, oh my god, who are these people? Narendra Modi, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed I don't know these. And apparently Ebola doctors and nurses. Are they in the running for Times Person of the Year? Ebola doctors?
Okay, so Time's fucking stupid Person of the Year thing is like, basically it's like voted on by the general public. Okay, so you look at the Time candidates for People of the Year, and it's like the people who helped out Ebola victims. And then it's like the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, and then it's like Taylor Swift.
So stupid.
So, I mean, like, Beyonce, I love her. She's very entertaining. She is, she's good at doing her own thing, and she's built this whole kind of empire from the ground up, and it's all about her, and that's cool. The Time Person of the Year award.
Like, must we?
Does it really? Why put entertainment and actual importance into the same vote?
Right. I have to agree. This is a really great question because I think, like, what is it? Was she in the running for Times Person of the Year? No, it was that cover, like the Most Powerful People cover for Time. That Beyonce was on. Remember people were like pissed off she was in her underwear or whatever?
Oh, I don't remember that time.
You don't remember? It's like a black and white photo of her in her underwear, but like not even overly sexual. It's actually like a really gorgeous photo, and people were like, what the fuck? And it's like, whatever. Yeah, I agree, Jarku. Like, can we get a break? I love Beyonce as much as the next person, but I need a minute. The Beyonce industrial complex is mad exhausting. Like, I need a minute.
Yeah, I mean, did you have any thoughts on why did she come out with that video? Is she going to come out with a new album, or
she announced it? She announced it. So that like thing that leaked, like the track listing of a new album, was fake, as I assumed it would be. But she's releasing like a platinum deluxe edition of the album from last year with like 2 new songs. Both those songs are now on the internet. And there's a video for one of them, which is the one Seppo was asking about, 7-Eleven. Have you heard it? Have you seen this video or heard the song?
I saw the video.
So the video's dope. Like, I love it. It's so beautiful. The song pisses me off.
It kind of sounds like that Wiz Khalifa song, Dem Boys.
Oh my god, it kind of does. Yeah, it just has that, like, the chaos of, like, the... Yeah, no, totally. I know what you mean. I actually, for me, it annoys me because it just feels like it feels like her and her team, like, realized that people loved, like, I woke up like this. They loved Surfboard. They, like, loved these, like, hashtag ready lyrics. So they just wrote a song filled with lines that you can just, like, hashtag.
One-liners.
Yeah, just one-liners. It's an entire song that's, like, ready for merchandise. Like, it's just, like, like never spill your alcohol, like,
Right,
or, like,
right.
I know you care, like, what, it's just, like, all of these, like, lines, and it's, like, if I'm supposed to buy into this Beyonce artistry, then I need her to know that there's not this level of, like, boardroom, you know, vibing. Like, even though Beyonce is at the head of her boardroom, for sure, I just don't want a boardroom product. Like, I just don't want that vibe.
You don't
know?
want a team to go in and say, okay, Beyonce, we got the most feedback for this, and her being
Yeah.
like, okay, these are the things we need in the next song.
Exactly, completely. That's exactly how I feel. Like, I love the idea that, like, if that happens, I can rest assured that Beyonce was, like, the executive decision that made this stuff happen. Like, she's not a puppet. Like, we know this for a fact. That's, like, the whole point of her brand. But, like, I just don't like the idea that, like, that's still how she's thinking. And this song just feels literally like it's, like they have the sweaters ready, and they're just, like, ready to send them out if people want them. And it's, like, this is just such a dumb song. And, like, it just feels like a cutting room floor from the last album. It's, like, I'm not gonna vibe.
Okay, so other candidates for Time Person People of the Year
I mean,
include the head of ISIS.
what the fuck? Wait, what?
Yeah, the head of ISIS.
Obviously voting for that, because that's crazy.
The Pope. John
What?
Kerry.
We give the Pope Person of the Year, like, every
Yeah.
time there's a new one.
That's how it feels. And then, like, Kim Kardashian is a candidate, and so is Kanye. Taylor
Ah.
Swift. Harry Levin.
Who?
Yeah, the guy who runs TMZ, right?
Oh my god, stop. What? Why?
Or Harvey Levin, isn't that his name? Levin's tabloid news website broke some of the biggest stories of the year, including the Jay-Z Solange elevator tape.
That's
So,
the biggest story of the year? Of all the things
some
that have
of- some
happened
of the
this year?
biggest. So, do you think that Harvey Levin is excited about meeting the head of ISIS when Time throws their banquet?
Yeah, is Time trying to tell us that they're gonna actually release an investigative piece where TMZ and ISIS are the same, and this is their way of teasing it?
It's all one big Christopher Nolan film.
Oh my god, it totally is. Christopher Nolan's ISIS. Like, I'm part of ISIS, and I created it. Wait. No to all of those. Those all suck. I hate all of them.
Time Person of the Year is kind of a crazy thing.
It is. Do you remember the year it was like, Times Person of the Year is ew, and it was like a hideous foil cover where, like, you're supposed to see your own reflection, but I looked
Yes,
like a
yes.
warped circus
It was
creature.
supposed to be a mirror.
Yeah, I was like, this is aluminum foil. I can't see anything. I hate this magazine.
Time.
Yeah, I don't know who could get Time Person of the Year. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Malala Yousafzai, is that her name? The one who won the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize.
Possibly.
I feel like she was in the running last year. Like, can you be in the running 2 years in a row? I don't know. That feels weird, right?
I don't know. I hope Time doesn't pick someone dumb.
I hope they don't pick someone dumb either, because unlike most people, I actually, like, kind of care about the Time Person of the Year, because, like, Time Magazine is still a pretty great archive of, like, public life, and, you know, like, I just kind of want it to be, like, indicative of the years. Like, when it was the protesters, like, I was like, yeah, that's, like, pretty real. It's, like, kind of an
like
abstract
Occupy.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
the
Occupy,
protesters.
but it was also, like, the Green Movement in Iran, and, like, it was Egypt. It was, like, there was so much to that, and I was like,
Right.
I'm into it. But, like, the guy from TMZ... Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, so don't want her to have Time Person of the Year. Don't like 7-Eleven, but dope video, right?
Yeah.
It was cool.
I'm on board with that.
Ooh, ooh. Thanks,
okay,
Seppo. Love you.
Yeah, thanks, Seppo. Keep listening. Like us on Facebook.
Do you work for TMZ? That was...
Our next question comes from listener Claire Martin, who asks, I'd be really interested to hear y'all's thoughts on the new Hunger Games being banned in Thailand and China because of fear of it instigating revolution. The intersection of media/pop culture with youth-based protests has been around for a long time, but it's especially interesting seeing it on an international scale.
Oh?
And this kind of comes on the heels of all those Hong Kong protests for democracy, and kind of Thailand. I think Thailand kind of just has protests every once in a while because they are under somewhat of a similar government where it's like a king at the head of the Thai government. But it's definitely interesting to hear that Thailand and China are going to censor the film. I read that China was going to delay it for a certain amount of time until the protests die down in Hong Kong, but they're still planning on releasing it.
Okay.
But I mean, does this make this film like more of an important piece of I don't know, some sort of important
like cultural product?
Cultural product. Is this
probably not. I don't know.
Here's what my question is: if this was that important, can you buy the Hunger Games books in China?
That's a good question. I honestly didn't even hear about this. So
there's so many other. I don't know. It just seems weird that maybe now that we live in such like a instant 24-hour, international world, that something as big as the third Hunger Games movie, which of course is like kind of it's like one of the few blockbusters coming out this year that people are actually going to go see.
Sure.
So it's definitely like a big event. If I were the heads of those states, I would let the movie come out and not worry about it.
Yeah, I feel like to worry about it is to acknowledge like the weird symmetry of your way of running the country and the way that this fictional totalitarian state runs their country. Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, plus it's like, if you're, I don't know, like anytime you tell someone not to do something, the first thing they're going to do is do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So like, tell people that this is like deemed like dangerous, and people are going to be like, oh, then there's value to this thing. And like,
they're going to be like, oh, me likey, and then go see it.
Me likey Hungy Game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like really crazy. I really didn't know about this. That's like so nuts on so many levels. I don't know. I mean, so is the question basically like, just what do I think of that? Like, what do we think of the idea of this?
Yeah, I mean, because apparently there are like reports of, the Hunger Games like 3-finger salute.
Yeah.
Where they go like do 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 do.
Yeah.
So I guess there's like instances of people like doing that in ways of protest.
Oh my god, wait. Okay,
like,
so the real takeaway is that China and Thailand are filled with lame people? No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
In the article that Claire sent us, or in one of the articles, she sent us a couple of them.
Okay.
But I think it was talking about how in Thailand they're not allowing groups of 5 or more to gather and do that, like the salute.
Holy shit, that's so crazy.
I mean, I don't know. It's definitely easier to get messages like this out nowadays. I mean, if this were 1984, it's harder to kind of like sum everything up from the movie into this one gesture.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I don't know. That's really crazy. Well, it's funny because like these cultural texts are like responding to real anxieties. So then when you have the like makers of those anxieties respond to the texts, it's just creating this cycle where it's like, this is the function, this is what mainstream media, this is like what the function of like really acceptable mainstream stuff is. It like makes people sort of assess their surroundings. Like, I think it's kind of like, I don't like that it's being banned, but I do like that like there's an acknowledgement of like the power of something as big as like a movie that like people are excited about that deals with real topics. Like, that's like kind of great.
If this movie inspires people to try to better themselves, then that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. But that's, like, so crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, that's... Yeah, I think China and Thailand are a very like, interesting places right now. It's also pretty... I think it's also really interesting because, like, American films now, ever since people stopped buying DVDs, like, American films need to do really well in international markets to break even, and, like, the second biggest economy for American films is China. So, like, if you're not gonna allow, like, a huge multi-million-dollar blockbuster to, like, open in, like, the second biggest viewing country in the world, like, you're also damning your own receipts. So if the film is unwilling to, like, edit shit out to, like, open there, then that's also, like, super great. Not that you can really edit out protests from the Hunger Games, because what would it be? Just like, I'm so hungry.
It's kind of like the crux of the movie.
Yeah, it's kind of everything, especially this one. But that's just going to be a really interesting thing for like the Hollywood to have to negotiate. Like, is it willing to step back on really like quote unquote like powerful messages because it might not open well, and it probably will eventually because it's a business. But yeah, I don't know. That's crazy that Thailand and China is so scary. I can't believe people can't do that like 3-fingered salute whistle thing.
I don't know. I mean,
let them be shoved into a locker if it's what they want.
It's stupid. Yeah, I mean, right. But yeah, thanks for the question, Claire. That was really cool.
That is really cool. I'm into that.
Interesting topic.
we'll do updates on that. We should check the box office receipts and report back next week on how it does in China if it opens.
Yeah, we should. Well, it's going to open. I think it's going to be delayed until January, it said.
Damn.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Now on to a little more depressing part of the show. It's time for the Devil Tongue of the Week.
Devil Tongue of the Week. Louder, Jack. Nice.
So, this episode's Devil Tongue of the Week is going to Society.
Society. So stupid.
And more specifically, the society that is kind of at the crux of what just went down with the Darren Wilson indictment.
Yeah.
Which didn't happen.
Right. The indictment that never came to pass.
Right.
Yeah, let's get real for a second. Like, let's be honest. I'm really obviously devastated by that news. And devastated about how unsurprised I was.
Yes, very unsurprised. And that almost is more sad than the news itself.
Right. That is, yeah, completely. That is what institutionalized racism looks like. You know, it's just like you feel debilitated at every turn. And it's just like...
It's kind of an unfair game that you're never going to win.
Right, and it asks so much of its people. Because to just have, like, hope that things will be better, like, that shit is really abstract. Like, I don't know.
Have hope, and then to, like, it just never is going to happen.
Right.
It's very brutal.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, God. I'm, like, literally speechless. I don't even know what to say about that stuff. Everything that happened in Ferguson was... It was just so obvious that Darren Wilson was not going to get indictment. The way that, like, they were stretching out the announcement of the decision and, like, the riot police being in place.
Yeah, right? I mean,
it was just obvious,
the governor
right?
of the state putting Missouri in a state of emergency
right.
Like, a week before they even announced it was
right.
Like,
it was like you're acknowledging
I wonder what's going to happen.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like the
on.
clues are there. Not that this is like a issue of like, what did you expect? But rather like, I cannot believe the way that it's almost like the shame that of Missouri is like present in how they're sort of like trying to like prepare or something, and it's just
right?
like so weird to me. It's such a weird thing, and
they like knew. I read. I mean, like the county of St. Louis like stockpiled riot gear. Because
so
they knew
intense.
this was going to happen.
Right, which guess what it does? Incites a riot. Like,
exactly.
Like, how can you be mad at people for rioting when you have people in riot gear there? You know what I mean? It's like, you have terrorists attacking because, like, the military goes and occupies countries. Like, there's causality to how people react to during wartime. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, like, so backwards. And you were talking about that.
Yeah. When people... I hate that. When like... a government will send in quote-unquote peacekeepers to go into a country, and those people who are supposed to be peacekeepers are armed with, like, AK-47s and tanks and missiles, and it's like, well, okay, that doesn't really make me feel safe.
Right, you've changed the entire landscape of this environment.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then, and the stupidest shit is, like, people getting mad about the rioting and all the looting and shit that may be happening. It's like, fuck that.
Fuck you. Like, literally.
Yeah, don't bring that up. That's, like, a completely different issue.
Completely.
It shouldn't even be in the same conversation.
Yeah, it just feels so irrelevant to me.
People
like,
riot over championships.
Yeah, you bet.
The World Series.
It was on fire.
Happen.
So fucked up.
Riots happen.
Riots happen for much less.
Yes.
And riots are not the most important talking point about this conversation. You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
go see do the right thing. You know, that's exactly what happens in that.
Right. Totally. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, I don't even know what to say about everything that happened there. I just cannot believe... I was, like, talking to someone about this. I just can't believe, like, the amount of dead black teenagers whose names we know off the top of our heads.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
so insane. I can just drop these names like that. Like, that's just so crazy. Like, it's just so upsetting. And, like, oh, my God. I don't know. And Obama's, like... speech, like, what? He just seemed so devastated. You know what I mean?
Just, like,
defeated, like, in his voice. And then fucking CNN split screen, like, that, did you see that? Like, when he was giving his speech and, like, they were giving the split screen to the riots, like...
they, like, showed it, like, him talking while
it was happening. I was like, number one, the president is, like, he's giving a speech, like, the president of the United States is giving a speech. Like, you keep the camera on the president until he's done speaking, because he's literally the president. And also, just, like, a split screen as, like, an aesthetic decision is basically, like, saying that there are two sides to what you are seeing. Like, that is what the language
look what
is.
this president has wrought.
Right, exactly. Like, that is a very specific choice in editing, and it has really real, subtle, like, implications to people watching it, and it's, like, really fucked up. I don't know, everything about it is fucked up. Like, everyone who's probably listening to this podcast is, like, are, like, people in our lives who are relatively left-leaning and are, like, very open-minded and, like, progressive and, like, politically literate, so I know we're, like, preaching to the converted, but, like, it's just really fucked up, and I'm, like, very upset by it, obviously.
And it was just kind of one of those things where we felt like we had to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, it felt weird not to acknowledge.
We were supposed to record yesterday, and then, like, the news that he wasn't going to get indicted broke really early in the morning / late the night before.
Right.
And so, like, yesterday was kind of, like, marred with this whole tone of just kind of, like, God.
Right.
You know, like, this is just
It's
not
so
the
much.
time to be, I don't know. It just felt like something we had to address.
Yeah,
at least
it definitely
acknowledge.
feels like something to. Yeah, no, 100%. It feels weird not to. Like, so much love to Mike Brown's family, who, like, were so graceful in, like, their messages, or, like, in the statement that they released. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's really upsetting. Janet made a great point that they, like, broke this obviously during Thanksgiving week because, like, by Thursday, like, thoughts are elsewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a distraction. Diabolical. That is so vicious. And yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's really, I hate all of the police.
So that's why society gets the devil tongue of the week.
Society gets devil tongued. Fuck that.
All right, well, now on to something a little bit more.
We're inappropriately late.
We gotta, I mean, we're gonna wrap it up here. We're coming to an end of our time together.
Don't make me cry.
It's all right. But seeing as it is Thanksgiving tomorrow, we do want to just kind of give shout outs to whatever we're feeling thankful for here, Roddy.
Ooh, where do I start? I'm thankful. I am thankful for my beauty. I'm thankful for the lack of flaws on my face. Like, I'm thankful for that.
All right. Did you not think of anything to be thankful for?
I didn't think of a single thing to be thankful for. Okay, let me think of some right now. I'm thankful for your bed, which as usual I'm sitting on, and I'm thriving. I am very. Oh, maybe you go first.
I'll say this: I'm thankful for every single one of the listeners who comes back week to week and actually plays our podcast. It's very nice, and I appreciate it.
I just started crying.
And it makes me feel good. And honestly, I really like doing this podcast. I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for Janet. I'm thankful for Rod.
Don't do this!
I'm thankful for all my friends and family. I'm thankful for my girlfriend. I'm thankful for being able to wake up in the morning and brew a cup of coffee and do exactly what I want. So that's pretty good stuff to be thankful for.
That's really nice. I'm thankful for my beauty. I'm thankful for No, it's super real. I'm very thankful for our listeners. I really like, I'm very thankful for, just in general, the people in both of our lives who like appreciate our ridiculous indulgences. It's very sweet. Super thankful for friends, family, definitely for you, who I've known for almost my entire life, and I love every minute of it. And I'm thankful to feel like relatively safe, like on most days, which is a real privilege.
It's
as
a big
the world
step up
goes
from
to
some
hell.
people in this world, so that's definitely something to acknowledge.
Yeah, so really thankful for that. And I'm just I'm thankful that in a year where like it just feels like everything was so like there was just so much going on in terms of like debilitatingly devastating news.
Especially in the last like 4 months.
Yeah.
The last 4 months have been
honestly
good.
since the summer, like Crimea and all that stuff happened, and it didn't stop. It just feels like abroad, here, like the conversations have just been like heavy at all times. And I'm thankful that I always have just felt like my responsibility has been to like have the conversation, like be aware and like not have to wake up and like worry about specific things like happening to me directly. Like, that is the ultimate privilege. So
Very real.
yeah, there's a lot to be thankful for, and very thankful for the podcast above all of it.
Yes.
Most important
Podcast
podcast.
So, not thankful for cereal.
Not thankful for cereal. Not thankful, it's very keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer. So,
Yes,
cereal,
exactly.
we love you in the way that I love everything I plan to kill. Wanky wank. They're like, please stop calling our offices at 5 a.m. saying wanky wank. Like, so
And I also
nasty.
just want to say that I'm thankful for Janet today, but tomorrow I will be right back on her ass.
Ooh. You
Screaming
bet.
at her.
You're sweet ass. I'm extremely thankful for Janet Alexander, one of our best friends, a loyal producer who prioritizes the things her friends love just as much as things she loves. Very incredible quality. But tomorrow, you're dead to me. You're dead to me. Okay? Okay.
It's funny because tomorrow actually is Thanksgiving.
Right, but this will air on Thanksgiving.
Okay,
So
right.
today is Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Right. And come Friday, your soul is turning black just like the deals.
Black Friday actually refers to the color of Janet's feet when we put her in cement and throw her in the water. So, there's that.
Try editing the podcast from the deep blue sea, Janet.
Oh, the deep blue sea. Maybe Janet can do her own podcast from the bottom of the ocean. Wait, I'm kind of down. I'm here with a shark! Like, just like updates from Janet in the literal ocean. Love her. She's a survivor. Clearly.
So thanks, Janet. But
So thanks,
get to
Janet.
work because I think the podcast is over and you have to start editing it now.
Now, honestly, no food. She can't eat any of the food tomorrow anyway, so like, let's get real.
Get to work.
Get to work. This is a 24-hour deal. We need
You're
it turned
already late.
around. You're already late.
We're not
Basically,
even
it's
done recording
Christmas.
and you're already behind schedule.
Already behind schedule. Get that cement ready. That's the cement truck backing up. Pour it on.
Give a little time for the child within you. Don't be afraid to be young and free. Undo the locks and throw away the keys and take off your shoes and socks and run you.